Right then, Malcolm is another one of our senior members on the coaching program, and he's here to tell us a little bit about his journey over the past year or so of dropping weight and body fat, getting stronger, improving his health and his lifestyle. Malcolm, thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So, mate, can you take us back to before you started the coaching program? What kind of position were you in with it, your health, your weight, your fitness? What were the reasons that you decided you wanted to make some change?
Well, as I said, it's with retirement was on the horizon for me coming up, and I've been with you now. I think it's for 2 years, and I actually retired when I was 68. And the idea of getting into some sort of fitness regime and getting training and losing weight was to for two things really. One, to obviously help improve my lifestyle as I got older, and also to give me something to focus on a weekly basis. So the when I started with you, I was sort of nervous, if you like, for starting because I hadn't done any sort of training ever in the past. I mean, my work was quite, you know, the job I'd done was a senior site manager, and obviously that involved a lot of walking around, things like that. But really, to be honest, apart from cycling at weekends and so on, that was the only exercise I used to get. But I did used to cycle weekends. But since being on the program, I've actually lost. I did lose in the first year or so. I lost nearly 2 stone pretty much, which was brilliant. And people actually people I hadn't seen for quite some time actually commented on that and said, Blimey, you're looking well, and how have you managed to lose all this weight? And I said simply by doing the program and doing the extra exercises, and also importantly with the diet as well. So since I've been on the program with yourself, it's been the diet has helped. Not It's not diet as such, is it? It's not a diet that we're on. It's like being careful about what you eat and make sure you get the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs, etc., into the body and that obviously in turn that helps you to lose weight. And so it's been brilliant for me. I've actually loved it. It's because it does it now 3 times a week. It gives me a focus. Now I am actually retired, and I have got that extra time on my hands. But I'm I'm still one to get up early in the morning and do the workouts as early as possible, and also active recovery days as well. I actually get up early to get them out of the way. I've tried it a couple of times doing the workouts in the afternoon and so on, but prefer doing them in the morning because that's for me that gives me the rest of the day to do whatever else I need to do during the day. And you can find things to do when you retire, but especially I like the focus to do the training in the morning, and it is definitely it's good for my health, and it's also I believe good for my mental well-being as well because it gives you a focus and gives you something. I'm not saying necessarily it gives you something to look forward to all the time because sometimes, certainly sometimes you get up and I think, yeah, I've got to do the training today. But once you've done it and you've got it under your belt, then you're pleased. Yeah, it gives you some sort of sense of pride in that you've actually managed to get on and get it done and sort of get it out of the way and get get ready for the rest of your day. So it's been a bonus to me, and also with with yourself, Dean, with the help that's provided by you on the course. It's the help's always there. It's never it's always there. You always get an answer. You always get a reply. And if you think there's something not right, and you can approach you about it, and you do always come back. And I'm sure there's people on other courses and training things that don't get that sort of personal one-to-one sort of interaction with the actual trainer. But that from that point of view, I found it excellent. I've got to say excellent.
Well, mate,
And
I
that's
think you may have just topped the charts in the sense of answering all the questions that I had planned to ask you without asking the questions, which is
oh,
awesome.
that's
Well
good.
done, mate. Um,
Right, good.
you did touch on one of the apprehensions about you getting started, having never like done any form of conventional exercise and stuff in the past, albeit being quite a generally active guy. How how did you find the process of starting to get into conventional exercise, the learning process of it? How was that for you?
Difficult. I've got to say it was difficult. Yeah,
What was the
when I
most
first
difficult
started,
thing?
the for me the most difficult thing was understanding how to do the things correctly and not being fully, you know, not being happy the way I was doing them sometimes. Obviously, at the start, I've got in touch with you a few times about, discussing form and so on. And when I first started doing something, so I found them difficult. But obviously that was because I'd never done them in the past. And I started to say to myself, well, it's only practice, as the old saying, practice makes perfect. So after time doing the exercises, time after time, in the initial stages, with which I'll call like the beginner's course, I then, when I started to get into the inner circle, after a time doing the exercises, you do find they do get easier, and your mobility, it gets better, and you think, I didn't used to think I would be able to do this, but now I can do it. And
Yeah.
when you increase with the amount of, the reps or the sets that you're doing. But there's some of the exercises, as you know, there was one particular one, the Thai sit, that I could never ever, don't think I'd ever be able to do that one, because I just wasn't able to get my body to sit up. The Thai 1990, I think it was. But you replace that with another one, which I found I can do, and so that's obviously a good mobility exercise as well. So I think is it the abductor one? I think it is. I can't remember the name of it now exactly, but yeah, that's what's really been good for me. Is finding that there is, if you keep at it and stick with it, it will improve, and also that helps you with your mobility in general. And again, with if you do stick at it, that's another good positive for your mental well-being as well, because it actually gets you over that hurdle of thinking, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. And when you do stick at it and you can do it, you get a certain sense of pride out of that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
Mm,
it's a key word that you said there, practice.
mm,
I think too many people look at workouts or fitness as something that has to be punishing, or something that has to leave you in a pool of sweat and blood. But
mm,
in reality, it's not about destroying yourself. It's about improvement. It's about
mm,
working on yourself and practice. And you get consistently better over time as long as you
mm,
consistently practice.
mm.
So
And
lots to be proud of.
yeah, and a couple of your mantras, which I've really, found really helpful, is the initial one was making time, and that's another thing I've done, because when I first started the year, I was actually at work. I was still at work then, so there was a couple of occasions when I used to get up at maybe 5 o'clock in the morning to make the time to either do the active recovery or to do the workout. Um, and that's so important. I mean, obviously, I don't get up at that time now. I mean, but I do start at sort of 7 o'clock in the morning. But um, that making time is also important, and if you do put your mind to it, you can find the time to do it. As I say, a few times I was getting up at 5 in the morning, which was if I was had to go somewhere that day or whatever work, and so allow myself time to do the exercises or the active recoveries before I actually start my work day started. And the other one, which I feel is really important, is the consistency, over perfection. That's because I never ever give myself a full score with the when you give us, when we have to mark ourselves during the week, because I don't ever believe that I've got ever got a 10 out of 10 for anything, or even a 9 out of 10, because I know that what I'm doing isn't always perfect. I'm always sure there's it could probably always be better, but that is important as well. Consistency over perfection. It's something you need. You've got to stick at it, otherwise you're not going to get any gain from it. If you start with these things, if you do them, say you do one workout one week, and then two the next week, and three the next week, and then you drop back down to one, and so on. You're not going to get any benefit from that. So I do feel that the consistency over perfection is a real good mantra, if you like, to
Sure.
you know. Mm.
Sure thing. So, considering all the things that we've spoken about there, Malcolm, what do you see are the biggest benefits that you've experienced in your day-to-day life as being part of the program and the process that you've been through?
The benefits, it has been good to be part of the group. That's been a benefit. I've enjoyed that. Enjoy, coming into the meetings and so on, and listen to what the other guys are experiencing and what they're going through, and listening to yourself on, the sort of advice that you give out in the meetings and so on. another benefit is, as I say, the weight loss was an important one to me, to lose the weight, and I've managed to keep that weight off. It's gone up and down a little bit over the time with the likes of holiday and the Christmas period and so on. And so, but again, when you get back into the full time, well, not so much the full time program, because I still continued with the program, the workouts, but when you get back to a sort of the right nutrition rather than the stuff you eat when you're on holiday and when you're over the Christmas period, that's been a benefit to me, as I say, with keeping the weight at a level which is, I believe, is the right sort of level for me. And I'm always keen to maybe get it down a little further if possible. But where I've got to now after losing that couple of stone, I feel so much better for that. Now, yeah, that's I suppose that's the main benefit for me as well. And as I say, the focus to give it something to focus on during the week. It's a good, like I say, for your mental well-being. I believe that it is really good for you.
Yeah, great work. And for anybody who's listening who might be in similar shoes that you were in before, thinking about joining up, unsure if it's right for them, unsure if it's the right time, what would your advice be then?
Oh, definitely 100% join. It's a plus. I mean, I intend to stick at it for as long as I can, and that's what I intend to do. It's because, well, as I said earlier on, everything that I said earlier on is what applies. If you make the time to do it, if you look at consistency over perfection, and if you look at to giving yourself a focus and to improve your general well-being and your health and your mobility and your weight, and so all them things, especially when you get to my age, they're all things that you need to they're the things you need to do to look after your health and your well-being and for the rest of your retired life. And yeah, and what mainly I think it is really to keep your weight and so on under control and keep and be generally fit all round. And that's the way I see it, and that's a plus. And I think anyone starting should do not give up early, because a couple of times when I first started I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, as I said earlier. But if you stick with it, you will get better at it. And with the guidance and support from yourself, then you really can't go wrong. And it's something that I believe a lot more people should do than do, to be honest with you. And myself, I do it all at home. So you've got to have a bit of self motivation there to do it all the time from home. But yeah, I do it from home, and I quite, I enjoy that, doing it from home. I prefer it to going out to the gym, and you don't need an awful lot of space, and you don't need an awful lot of equipment either. I mean, I haven't got a hell of a lot of equipment. I've got a bench, some dumbbells, and a pull-up bar, which I fitted gymnastic rings and so on. And that's all stuff that you can do in a sort of relatively small space. And with that, you can just pop out into the garage and get your workouts done. And that's all happy days, really.
Yeah, yeah, and it's all a process.
Yeah.
Well, Malcolm, thanks very much for giving your time and sharing
Yeah.
the insights from your journey so far, mate. You've done a cracking job. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, you're very welcome. All right. All the best,
Well done,
David.
mate. Thanks. All the best.
Cheers.